with Nintendo shutting down the eShop for the 3DS, now's the time to pick up physical games. So I have 13 amazing games you should add to your library before the prices go up. Let's take a look. What's a Nintendo system without their bread and butter, the humble platformer? After revolutionizing and evolving the 3D platformer on consoles, Super Mario 3D Land had a lot to live up to as the first original handheld entry in the 3D subseries. It needed to transition Mario into the handheld screen, make the series more mainstream than previous entries, and sell some 3DSs. Well, it did all of that and then some. The colorful visuals, power-ups, and enemies are all reminiscent of past Mario titles, but it plays fresher than ever thanks to some of the best level designs in the series' history. The stages are brief enough for a handheld, but pack a ton of creativity into every corner, along with some really challenging bits in the post-game. And the visuals use stereoscopic 3D better than virtually any other game on the system. Whether or not you're a platforming fan and whether or not you've played any of the previous titles in the series, Shantae and the Pirate's Curse is an exceptionally well-crafted game that should not be ignored. The art style and the sense of humor aren't going to appeal to everyone, but they work well together and manage to set a very specific tone that WayForward has clearly spent time perfecting. There's no reason for any 3DS owner to miss adding this gem to their treasure collection. Donkey Kong Returns 3D takes you back to the side-scrolling antics of Rare's classic SNES series, updating it with beautiful new graphics and mechanics. This version includes an extra world, and the 3D once again enhances the experience, turning those lush environments into mesmerizing dioramas that will have you playing around with the 3D slider like a kid. The game slots perfectly into the console's collection of quality platformers, and the soundtrack is pretty great through headphones too. Who knew the 3DS would be such an RPG powerhouse? There are so many titles that you could make a whole video with nothing but great RPG titles. However, to keep it simple, here are my top 5 recommendations. If you're a Fire Emblem fan, you'll know that the series has the Nintendo 3DS to thank for its availability today. Fire Emblem Awakening would have been the last game in the franchise had it not done well, but thankfully, it took the world by storm. However, Fire Emblem Fates is the one you should set your eyes on. This game is unique in that there are 3 games under its title that have changes to the story and difficulty, depending on what path you choose. Fire Emblem Fates Birthright has you choose the Kingdom of Hoshido, while Fire Emblem Fates Conquest sees you choose the sides of the Kingdom of Nor. There is a third path where the main character chooses neither kingdom, called Fire Emblem Fates Revelation. This was available as part of a special edition that featured all 3 games on one cartridge. But the special edition now costs hundreds of dollars on the secondhand market. If you love Fire Emblem or just want an excellent tactical RPG, this is for you.
Its fading light augurs a greater darkness.
There's a reason Square Enix specifically cited Bravely Default as its motivation for moving away from globalized titles and back towards specialized core games. It's an excellent RPG, and that appeal translates everywhere. Traditional and Japan-centric though it is, its expert design and terrific story make it a welcome and necessary 3DS game. And oddly enough, the best Final Fantasy game in some time. Make no mistake, in design and execution, Bravely Default is proudly a JRPG, but don't let that hardcore pedigree scare you away. The story is absolutely worth seeing, and the design is as tightly tuned as any game in the genre. The sequel, Bravely Second Endlayer, made welcome tweaks to the combat, but in terms of the narrative scale, Bravely Default is still the one to go for. Rune Factory 4 might not be for everyone, but if its unique combination of fantasy farming, dating sim, and action RPG sounds like your cup of tea, you'll have an absolute field day with this gem of a game. It's bursting with charm, backed up by masterful writing and an irresistibly positive outlook, and plays like the pinnacle of a genre it invented. Whether you come for the adventure, the romance, or simply the turnips, Rune Factory 4's inviting world will draw you in and give you plenty of reasons to stick around for many, many seasons to come. Only available on the new 3DS rather than the standard ones, this port of the Wii's JRPG is absolutely massive and shows off just what the more powerful console is capable of. Xenoblade Chronicles 3D takes place on the bodies of two giant fighting titans. Yeah, you heard that right, with cities hiding behind giant knees and oceans in rib cages. The Titan is home to humans, while the other is home to a race of evil robots. And the two factions are constantly at war. It's up to you, playing as hero Shulk, to use a sword that grants visions of the future to gain the upper hand. The story has some seriously impressive moments, the cast is hugely likable, and the score is awesome. If you're a fan of huge RPGs, then you'll definitely need to pick this up.
Let him have it, beast.
The story of how me and the Gov fell in together is an epic tale.
For this entry, I'm recommending both Dragon Quest VII, Fragments of the Forgotten Past, and Dragon Quest VIII, Journey of the Cursed King. Dragon Quest is a great RPG series that's as classic as it gets. Dragon Quest VIII was the first game in the series that I played back on the PS2. I loved it so much that since then I've devoured just about everything I could in the franchise. Both of these games are excellent remakes on the 3DS. And outside of a mobile port, we haven't seen ports to modern consoles since the 3DS. They are so sought after that their physical prices are already going up, so it's best to get them while they're still somewhat reasonable.
It is time we brought this little show to an end. Now, taste my true power.
This last group is made up of games that are totally unique and can't really be categorized into any standard genres. Back in 2013, Nintendo decided to dedicate an entire year to Mario's little brother Luigi. The Year of Luigi saw several celebrations surrounding the Green Plumber, including 2 Luigi-themed 3DS consoles. 2 original titles also graced the system, and while Mario and Luigi Paper Jam is alright, the stronger game is definitely Mario and Luigi Dream Team. Travel into Luigi's subconscious as you move through levels that take place entirely in his dreams. By manipulating Luigi's face in the real world, you can build bridges or send gales of wind through his dreams, helping you solve puzzles along the way. The writing is as wacky as always, and the game takes advantage of the dual screens on the 3DS. Overall, it's charming and a game you don't want to miss out on. The 3DS port Poochy and Yoshi's Woolly World is unique in that it allows players to design their own Yoshis and distribute them using Street Pass. It also features unique timed auto-run levels where you control Poochy. That name always reminds me of The Simpsons.
Hey, Poochy, you look like you've got something to say. Do you?
Yes, I certainly do.
I have to go now. My planet needs me.
When Poochy isn't helping Yoshi, he's collecting gems and looking for his Poochy pups, who just seem to keep running off. The physical version of this game was first released alongside a Yarn Poochy amiibo, which was the only way this amiibo was released. Unfortunately, this means the physical version with the amiibo is crazy expensive. That being the case, if it's not something you're interested in, you can get the physical game without the amiibo at a pretty reasonable price.
Looking up. Oh, so will you make some games for me or what? Hey, Ashley. Oh, okay, I'll call you back.
The crazy minigame series came to 3DS late in life, at a time when many might have preferred to see it land on the Switch. But it's hard to be too miffed. WarioWare Gold makes use of the console's particular features, from its 2 screens to its tiny microphone, and curates many of the series' most popular games while also adding 50-ish new ones to the bargain. The series has many standout entries across consoles, and this is an excellent best of package.
Ever wonder what this stick thingy is for? You poke the bottom screen with it. Poke, 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 poke.
Building on the solid foundation of Kirby Triple Deluxe, this is a game where the pink ball can transform into Mech Kirby. For me, this would have already been enough. However, the madman at HAL took that winning central idea and surrounded it with brilliantly designed worlds, trademark rainbow visuals, and enough charming moments to make Kirby Planet Robobot the finest outing on the 3DS, and arguably on any system, for the most powerful video game character of them all. The original Luigi's Mansion was an inventive adventure that set aside typical Nintendo-style gameplay in favor of something more unique, but it was far too short to truly satisfy. Dark Moon fixed this by adding in multiple mansions to explore, a wealth of content to consume, and tons of ghosts to bust. And yes, bustin' definitely feels good. In many ways, Luigi's Mansion Dark Moon has the practicality of a point-and-click adventure. Each room, which looks like a wonderfully detailed diorama with the 3D slider on, is jam-packed with character and charm, and you'll want to explore every inch of every mansion as you progress. Where it diverges is obviously in its ghost busting, which works well thanks to the satisfying combat and a wide variety of poltergeist types. Alright, so those are my thoughts, but I'd love to hear yours. What 3DS games are you picking up? What games did I miss that I should add to part 3? And what games do you wish you would have gotten before the prices jumped? Love to hear about it in the comments down below. If you liked the video, show me some love and hit the like button. And if you want more suggestions, check out part 1. Alright, till next time.